Thomas Morgan there. Well, Tony Smith is the former Director General of the UK Border Force and joins us now from central London. Thank you very much for joining us, Tony Smith. How do you foresee this new command structure working?
Well, I think it's an interesting proposition. We've always had a very good working relationship with the French police and the French authorities. There's always been good intelligence sharing, but the real purpose behind a joint control room will be behind a joint strategy, really, which is to tackle the problem, as you say, of the people that are organising human smuggling and human trafficking. This is a international organised crime, and, you know, by working together with our own agencies and the French agencies in a single command structure, then, you know, hopefully we will be able to bring more of those to justice.
There's a question of responsibility and who should take responsibility here. The Deputy Mayor of Calais says Britain needs to take responsibility. The French authorities appear to be very clear in asking for some contribution. How is this going to work? How will the two work together?
Well, I think you need to understand the range of different agencies that are involved in the broader Calais problem. I mean, there is the broader law and order issue around Calais, which is essentially a French police issue. The Eurotunnel and the operators have security needs. The UK has its own border force zone in Calais, and of course we've got you know, joint intelligence units such as those in Folkestone, where we have exchange officers. So I think one of the reasons really behind this is to, you know, just to bring a more coordinated command and control structure behind a common strategy. We both want to, both the French and the British want to stop you know, the traffickers and the smugglers. This is international organised crime, but it's really quite difficult to deal with. So I think by creating this new structure, it will give us more of an opportunity to share intelligence and hopefully, as I say, to bring more of them to justice.
Who is working effectively when it comes to policing there? What policing isn't being done, or what isn't being done enough to get to a situation where there are people who are able to roam around, break into security cars, you know, into vehicles?
Well, you see, this is the problem, is there are a range of different risks involved in Calais, aren't there? And, you know, the one you described, which is the one we've spoken about in the last few weeks, has been this breakdown of law and order and security around the port. And that is really to try to stop people from, you know, entering the UK illegally, entering the zone illegally. Now, there's only so much that the UK authorities can do with that. That's largely a matter for the French police. But the UK has invested a good deal of money, particularly in the port security arrangements. So that will deal with one part of the problem, which is this, you know, this intrusion, if you like, illegal intrusion of people into the British control zone and into the UK. But what we're talking about here is something slightly different, which is getting behind the organisers and the traffickers. That's always been a common purpose, not just between the British and the French, but between border control agencies across the world and police agencies across the world. But it's extremely difficult to get the necessary intelligence together, you know, to mount a prosecution, to conduct joint investigations across borders. And this is why the you know, the trade is so rife, and the smugglers and the traffickers are doing so well out of this financially. So I think this is a really positive attempt by the Brits and the French to get together on this, to share intelligence and information, and hopefully to, you know, to provide more disruption, to stop people you know, making profits out of this human misery.
And of course, many people will be saying, well, the reason there's a problem there in Calais, and we're hearing of an extra camp being built in Dunkirk, is because of problems further afield, Syria, other really troubled countries where people are flocking from. What can be done about that? Well,
yes, you're right, and of course that is the unsolved problem, is what is going to happen at the external European frontier to stop the very large flow of irregular migrants into Europe, particularly into Greece and Italy. And those countries have already said that, you know, they simply cannot cope with the numbers. They don't have the infrastructure. So the original arrangements that were set up to deal with irregular migrants in Europe have essentially broken down, and there isn't a cross-European strategy to actually stop the flows. And I think that until something is put in place to actually manage that, then, you know, we're going to continue to see increasing numbers of irregular migrants entering the European Union.
OK. Tony Smith, former Director General of the UK Border Force, thank you very much for giving us your thoughts this morning. Family, friends and fans.